Hello and welcome to The Art of Self. I'm your host, Donna Guerreros. And in this session, we are talking about September, the perfect excuse to get your beep together. Okay, so let's get it together. Thank you so much for coming back to another session of the podcast and video. We have video now. So if you're on Substack, you can see the video episode of this. If you're on YouTube, it'll be posted there. And before we get into some things, I want you to notice the background behind me is changing. I have officially taken over my husband's studio. Super excited to be here. But the decor needs a little work, you know? Those soccer cards behind me, football cards, trading cards, the wall of them was not on brand. So I am in the process of, redecorating a little bit. And once we get everything figured out and I piece this together and make it a little home for me, I will gladly share it with you and post that up. And while we're on the subject of sharing, the giveaway. If you've been following my Instagram stories, you know that I have traveled a lot this summer. I went to Portugal, I went to Italy, I went to Paris, and I went to England. And because I love you guys so much and I appreciate you so much, and I want to really create, a community, and I want to share through this new project that I'm doing, through the Art of Self and the extension of the Donnas and all the things that I have kind of cooking and coming up, I have been collecting things for you on my travels. So if you are a paid subscriber to the Substack, you will automatically be entered to this month's giveaway for September, which is going to be this lovely Missoni travel case. If you're watching the video, I'm going to do a little quick unboxing of it. I did get it on my Delta flight. I got upgraded. That was a glitch in the universe. I got upgraded to Delta One. And this is a cute little Missoni for Delta case. And I filled it up with some stuff. I kept the Delta socks in there. No, I did not wear them. How cute are these? They're so cute. So you're going to get a pair of Delta socks. You're going to get a little Nest candle. It's ginger and vanilla bean. Don't worry, the Donna's candles will be coming soon. We're working our buns off on them. We, as in me. You're getting two lovely crystal bracelets. We have a green one, and then we have a rose quartz. I don't know the stone of the green one, but there we go. We got those. You are also getting, from my favorite store in the whole world, they just do everything so right, in my opinion. From Universal Bully, you are getting a mouthwash that they gave me. The woman who worked at the shop gave me this. I told her about the giveaway, and she was like, let us contribute to your giveaway. So shout out to Universal Bully. Hope I'm saying that right. And they gave me a little travel toothpaste. This is a travel kit. So we got to we got to keep it on brand. And what else we got in here? Oh, we got some samples from Bully. From Universal Bully, we got some face oil so you can do your gua sha and your facial massage. Let's keep it on self-care brand here. Let's keep it on the Donna's brand. We got some Manual Pure Cleansing Oil. I love this oil. Think it's great. If you're a two-stepper, if you're a double cleanser, definitely get it. And then Hanskin Hyaluronic Acid and Purito Sol Wonder Relief Centella Cream. So you're going to get samples of all that, and you're going to get that in your packet. And yeah, we're going to make that happen. So let me clean that up. All right. What else we got going on? This session is going to be about this, how September is the perfect excuse to get it together. We're going to be looking at a little bit of astro themes, a little bit of astrology themes. And if you're a paid sub, we're going to have a self-care session for you guys for the month of September around these themes. I'm going to be guiding it with meditation, some journaling prompts, all of those things. We are going to absolutely get into that, and you'll have that. So if you're a paid sub, definitely look for that. It will be posted. And the recording will also be available in case you miss it. But before we get into the session, things that are currently taking up too much real estate in my head and that I'm loving, the Caudalie, I don't know. This stuff is amazing. The Caudalie spray, I'll link everything in this post so you have it all. But this spray, it really is the best. It just I've tried a lot of sprays, and the Beauty Elixir is it. So if you're ever going to Europe, if you're going to Paris especially, load up on this, because in the States this is close to $50 a bottle. I just sprayed myself with it, so you can kind of see it just. And if when you spray it over makeup, it really does. It gives a nice little gloss. All right. I'm a stan for the neck and chest cream from Gold Bond. I love this stuff. They really should just pay me at this point. I'll link it below. You can get this on Amazon. It's so cheap. And this this really competes with some of the, like the $300 and $400. I don't want to say $400, but like the $200 and $300 neck cream. I've never tried a $400 neck cream, so I can't lie. I have tried $200 and $300 ones though, and this little like $10 one does a way better job. I also take a little and like put it on my 11s. Let's do that right now so you can see that. I'm trying to do this. Like it's good. It's great. All right, hope I didn't mess up. I did a little makeup. I have the Ilia, or Lilia? Ilia is a restaurant. Whatever the name of it is, I'll link it. Serum. All right. I got a lot of compliments where people told me I was glowing on my stories when I was in Rome. I was glowing because it was 90 degrees there and I was sweating from the glow. But also prior to going, I had gotten these, which is the Isle of Paradise self-tanning drops. Game changer. You can build your, you build your tan with this, but they also have light. I think they have medium and I think they have dark. I think they have 3. They either have like 2, like light and dark, or light, medium, dark, or they have light, medium, dark. I'm not sure. I'll link it. But love this. You put it in your lotion. So you add a couple of drops. The directions are on the back. You put it in your lotion. It doesn't last that long. You can build it. I think it lasts like maybe 2 to 3 days tops. But you see the difference that day. Like I put it on in the morning, and by the evening when I'm going out, like say I'm going to go somewhere and I want to like, touch up my legs real quick and like give them a little glow. This stuff is great. And you can also take a couple of drops of it and put it in your moisturizer so you can use it for your face as well. Love it. It's got, I'm approved. It's Donna's approved. Okay. It's Donna from the Donna's approved. Okay. I have to clear my throat. Let's pause this really quick. Well, you can't pause. Well, just figured out something new here. Okay. So I showed you everything that's going to be in the giveaway. If you are a paid subscriber to theartofself.substack.com, you will automatically be entered. I'm covering shipping. It'll be sent to you and you'll have the giveaway. Oh, my final product that I'm recommending for this month that I love. I've actually tested this out for an entire month for you. In Beauty Project. This is a really cost-effective cream. It's called Extreme Cream. The results for it online, people love it. They stand for it. It's infused with plant-based bioretinol. It has peptides and ×3 ceramide complex. No idea what that means. I do notice a difference with this. It gives me a glow. I like it. I like it for like when I don't want to wear makeup. The only thing is, watch, it's a reusable bottle. So do you see? You really, yeah, they get you. They kind of scam you a little bit. They're not scamming you. It's supposed to be recyclable, but you think you're getting this like heavy bottle full of stuff. And then when I was traveling, I opened it up like this. But I have been using it. Let's look at this. I've been using it for over a month and I've used that much of it. I still have this much left. I could see from, the line. So yeah, I recommend it. Anyway, if you are listening, you didn't see any of that, but basically I was showing how much I used and how much is left. I think it's like $40 something a bottle. It's a good product. I do really, really like it. So I've been testing it out. I did do photos about a month ago, and then I'll do. Actually, I think I've been using it longer than a month, but I'll show you the photos. All right, let's get to the whole point of this. I did say I was going to start wrecking products because people ask me what products I like, and I will link them in the show notes for this. All right, what do we got going on for September? September is back to school time. Not for me, because I just withdrew from the master's program that I was supposed to be taking. And ironically, I was never enrolled in it. And I thought I was enrolled in it. And I was kind of scrambling and fearing that I was going to either be charged for the classes or have to pay, or I was going to have to do something like, if you've ever been enrolled in school and then you disenroll after the semester starts, if you ever apply for things later on down the road, you then have to get this letter saying basically you never went to the classes, you dropped out during the beginning of the semester, that kind of thing. It's a whole thing. And I had to do that when I applied to this master's program. So I was like, I don't want to get caught up in that again in case I decide to go to the master's program later on down the road. But anyway, after them saying this was a total lapse in communication, I don't know, let's blame it on Mercury in retrograde, whatever, or, the universe intervening hardcore. Basically, I had signed up for the program, I had enrolled, I had done all this stuff, but I was never really enrolled. And so I thought I was starting in September, and it turns out I was not starting in September. So anyway, if you're also keeping score, this is the second time I have applied for a master's program, enrolled, this time I thought I enrolled. I really didn't, but thought I was going. And then like 2 weeks before it was supposed to start, decided, well, last time I decided 2 weeks in. This time I decided 2 weeks before it was supposed to start that I'm not doing it. So why? Let's get real. Every time I have decided to go back to school, it's been because I thought it was the next logical thing to do. And a majority of the theme that came up even this time when I really had to ask myself, like, why do I want to go back to school? It was all coming from like a fear-based position, and it was all fear-based decision-making because I'm good at school. I love school. I get school. Like, I like a syllabus. I like the structure. I like the fact that you are starting somewhere and you know the next logical steps, and then there's a degree, and then after that degree hopefully there's a job. And especially like in nursing and what I was going to go for, like there's a lot of logical steps, and I'm also good at it. I thrive in that type of environment. I like studying. I like reading. I like lectures. I like taking notes. Like I know it. Like I get it. I'm a nerd. Like I know who I am. But I really don't want to make decisions from a fear-based perspective anymore, or from fear-based thinking. And that's something that I've really been working on the last few years. And the next logical step for me would be, like an easy logical step would be to go to school and to continue this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go to school was I was going for my nurse practitioner in psychiatric mental health. And everyone kept saying to me, like, what do you want to do with this? They were like, do you want to work in, on the floor, like with psychiatric patients? Do you want to like round on them in the hospital? And I kept saying, no, I really ultimately would love to do this and want to do this because I want to have my own practice. And then I even kept saying with my own practice, I was like, I want it to be more of like a group practice. Like I know the type of clientele I want to work with. I want to work with individuals who are like moving through things, who have done a lot of mental health work on themselves and are like looking to kind of refine or like move through, a block or a hurdle, and kind of like changing their like perspective, their mindset, like shifting a lot of stuff that I have worked on for myself and that I can 100% testify and be a testament to that it works. But I kind of wanted to do this with people. And then like through the process of this and explaining to people what I wanted to do, and even like my own therapist and my own mentor, and telling them why I wanted to go back to school, they were kind of like, you don't need to go back to school for this. You need like certain things and you need some certifications. They're like, but you're further along to where you want to be than you realize. Are you just doing this because that other way of doing it is a little bit more unknown? And also because you're trying to like really legitimize yourself with like the nurse practitioner. So I had to like look at where I was making these decisions from. Again, a lot of it was fear-based. And I'm at the point where I really want to just pick up a lot of the stuff that I put down because it got too hard for me. And one of the things is the Donna's project, and kind of it taking its own like route during the pandemic. And also like me kind of like leaning back. And again, if we're going to talk about like North Node and South Node and all that stuff, me like always constantly going back to community and constantly having to like, like not kind of like stand out or take a risk and do the thing that like everyone's expecting from me. Or there's kind of, when I say community, there's kind of like a path already like figured out, like school, nursing, organizations associated with that, the psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners. Like there's groups, there's community, there's support, there's people who have done it before, there's people who have figured out their private practices. Like it's just more known. And this other path that I really, really want to go down, but I am absolutely terrified to go down, is more unknown. And it's also very hard for me and very difficult because I don't get it on the first shot. It's a lot of learning. It's a big learning curve for me with learning how to like do all this, like create video, create audio, put yourself out there on the internet. And also it's like putting yourself out there, which is like super, super scary. But this is like what I really, really want to do. And so I kind of decided over the last couple of weeks that I want to apply the things that I like about school to this like next season of my life. And that's kind of like why I'm making this episode. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So what does this have to do with you? So basically, we get that there's like this back to school vibe happening right now. It's the fall. It's the energy in the air. It's, it's just like, it's just I mean, it's literally back to school sales, Labor Day, like you have friends going back to school, like, you know, all the things. And you don't necessarily have to be going back to school or even have like graduated or, and I even said in the newsletter, I said, you have not even had to have graduated when Christina Aguilera like really looked like that. Like you could have graduated like 20 years ago. Basically, I just want you to kind of remember the vibes of school and apply that to like right now and kind of this season of your life and it like the fall, which is like what we're in like the Northern Hemisphere, if you're listening to it from there. But keep like the back to school vibe like in your head, like keep it in the forefront of your head. So I love the fall. I loved going to school like when I was younger. I am like a huge nerd. We like established that at the beginning of this episode. So in an odd way, September is like programmed in me to kind of like really, really be like a fresh start. And over the last couple of years, I've kind of really started to like live a little bit more seasonally. Like I use the seasons as all like little mini New Year's and mini fresh starts, like spring and summer. And like I'm a spring baby. And they usually say like the season you were born in is kind of like your season where you start to kind of feel like really like yourself and like alive again. And like obviously your birthday's coming up and whatnot. But September has just been ingrained in me as like a fresh start. I think even more than like New Year's. Okay. It's just when I got new clothes as a kid, it's when I got like new and fresh things. And like even as an adult, I always buy myself like new underwear and bras and socks in September. And I buy them in around my birthday. Like it's just like when I get like fresh clothes, it's like when I reset my wardrobe. I always get like new sneakers in the fall. It's just, again, like we talk about that programming, right? Like I've just been like programmed to do that. So I do tend to use September more as like the real like reset and refresh for myself. And then kind of like, you know, hunker down during the winter. And then like spring, I like come alive again. And then summer, I just kind of like completely let loose and like abandon like all responsibility and have fun. And then it's kind of like, okay, let's recenter and refresh. And like I really do like this idea of like breaking things down into like quarters and the seasons. And I mean, companies do this, right? Like they have a year plan, but then they do quarterly, you know, fashion companies quarterly drops or, you know, what are we doing for next quarter or budgeting for this quarter or let's look at results for this quarter. So like I kind of have been applying that to my life. And I have to be honest with you, it's working out much better than looking at this giant like mountain in front of me of the next year. I've actually been toying with even like kind of going back to like the vision boards and the, you know, the workshops I host. And I'm actually thinking of like hosting them more quarterly so people can like drop in and drop out and then kind of like, you know, instead of just doing this like once a year, like bite off more than you can chew thing and then kind of like put it on a wall and forget about it. Like I'm really trying to like, you know, walk the talk. Is that it? Yeah, walk the talk. I'm like really trying to do that. So anyway, fall is like a vibe, okay? And there's like no other season like fall for me. I mean, like even like I said in a newsletter, like fall has its own like it has its own flavor. Like it's got the pumpkin spice latte. You know what I mean? There are more Pinterest boards for like fall than there are like even holidays. Like people really just like they vibe with fall. And fall has very much main character energy. So I think it's like a very good time for like us to get into like back into our main character energy. And like I said in the newsletter, like one of the things about fall is like you see those leaves over there? Aren't they beautiful? You see those trees? Well, I'm going to make them even more beautiful. I'm going to make them shrivel up. I'm going to make them die in front of you. And then ultimate bounce back bitch energy. They are going to come back in the spring, like even better than ever and like even more blooming. And maybe that tree will be like even bigger. So like, you want to talk about like getting some inspiration from like the season, like it's just, and planting seeds, and fall's about like about planting seeds. It's also about harvesting. I don't know. There's a lot of like metaphorical, like romanticization that we can do with fall. So anyway, I love this idea of fresh stuff. I love a good 5-star notebook, you know, back in the day, like fresh page, like writing in it, like nothing hits for me. Like, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that hit for me, but like, you know, that hit feeling of like putting a pen down on like the fresh page of a new 5-star. So I want you to go like get yourself a new notebook. It may be a 5-star, like go treat yourself energy and really obsess about this fresh start like you might have when you were younger. And you know, I'm all about like tapping into the inner child and the inner teen and stuff, and like take that energy of like, remember like how I don't know, I was like a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about like what lunchbox I was going to get and what book bag. Cause it's like, this is going to be with me all year or maybe even 2 years. Like if my mom was like, this is your book bag for all of middle school. Like you better like it. You better want this. So think about that and take that energy and take that perspective. But I want you to like focus on you. Okay. Focus on ourselves. Let's focus on the details. Let's get a little organization coming in and let's like really use September as like, hey, let's get our shit together. Okay. Also, to link it up with Virgo season, I don't know if you're into astrology or not, but you know I'm going to touch upon this because this is my thing. If you want to go on like a wild deep dive about that, obviously we're going to have something, we're going to have an event for that, and we're going to have something around September 2nd, September 3rd. So if you want to get deep on like Virgo season and the themes and all the stuff, we can do that. I also wrote like more on my site, which I'll include in the notes for this, where I have like a journal entry about like Virgo season if you kind of like want to, you know, look into that a little bit more for yourself. But if we can take a hint from Virgo season, we know that this is the perfect time to sit down, to figure it out, to organize, to just kind of look at our lives and figure out what's working and what's not. And I want you to kind of like embody one of those home renovation shows, but like I want you to think about like the home renovation show for your existence. So you're the reno project right now, okay? And I want us to like think about some routines, and I want us to like start figuring out like some stuff that we can bring in for the next year that is going to get us like a little bit more on our path and get a little bit more on the things that we like really want to accomplish and what we want to do. And I know when you say routines, when I say routines, you probably want to, I don't know, you're like, what, like, I came here for relief. I came here for enjoyment. I didn't come here like to make this about school. I get it. No one hates routines more than me. I love being a spontaneous ass bitch. I want ultimate freedom. My goal would be to like just bop around and do what I want each day. But this stuff does work. Okay. And no one's trying to convince themselves more right now by saying this, that it works than me, but it does work. And I do dislike routines, but I've also learned like I can't get too bogged down. Like I kind of need like a loose structure. That's why like every night I do like a brain dump and I write stuff down and I'll put a list of what needs to be done this week. And then in the morning I wake up and I'm like, okay, what do I feel like doing? What's the thing that has to be done, but what's kind of like calling to me? Like I've learned how to like put some routine and the adulting in there while also kind of like giving myself a little bit of freedom. But then like I also know I need to work out every day. Like that routine, that has to stick. Do I like working out every day? Absolutely not. I actually can't stand it. But once I'm in a groove and I'm doing it, like once I'm 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh man, like this is great. Especially like now that I found form. Also, who's texting me like nonstop? Let me look this up. Now that I found form, which is that workout, it's a half hour. It's quick. It's easy. You kind of work out multiple muscle groups at once. And if you need to offer code form, if you use code Donna, so if you go to join form, Sammy Clark is the lady who does it. You can Google it. She's on Instagram. But you get a whole year for $92 if you use my code. And it's code Donna, Donna. Anyway, now that I found form, I do kind of like working out, but it's not like the first thing that I want to wake up and jump up and do. Okay. You may be different, but it's not. But I know that when I work out, I sleep better. I feel better. I have that like tiredness that comes with working out and kind of like exhausting my muscle groups. That also keeps me in a very good place. It keeps me more grounded. Exercising grounds me so much. It really keeps my anxiety away. It's just better for me. And also that routine of waking up in the morning, exercising, and then taking a shower is what I need to get my day going. The longer I wait to take a shower, the more non-productive of a day I'm going to have. I don't know what it is about taking a shower first thing in the morning that just snaps me in, but it does. So again, like I've had to adopt these routines, you know. I want to hang out in my pajamas all day and sloth around, but then I will not do anything. I literally will do nothing all day. So I just can't roll over, brush my teeth, and hope for the best. And I said that in the Substack. Like, I need a little bit of intention. I have to have a little bit of loose structure for the day, even if it's like, hey, we're going to structure from like 9 to 3. And then like after 3, I'm just going to go like take the train into the city, walk around, and wherever I get taken, I get taken. Not taken, like took, you know what I mean? Wherever the wind takes me, let's clarify that for the universe. Or if it's like, hey, I'm going to jump up, wake up, take a shower, go take the train, go meet someone, kind of like wander throughout the day, see where the day takes me. But by 5 o'clock, I have to be home and I have to like do stuff. Then we're going to do that. But mostly it's like I have to do stuff in the morning because like once I'm out, I'm out. And when I come home, sometimes I'm like so exhausted, I really don't want to do a damn thing. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to this. So maybe for you, it's morning meditation. Maybe it's that morning shower. Maybe it's the workout. Maybe it's the brain dump the night before. Maybe it's the brain dump in the morning. So you realize, hey, I guess I don't have that much to do. Maybe it's a to-do list. Like whatever little rituals you got to put in place, this is the month to do it. And also like what you have to do to tend to yourself so you don't get stuck in survival mode and because when we take care of ourselves and we have that little bit of self-care, I really feel like even when you're super overwhelmed and you have so much going on, that 10 to 15 minutes of like stopping to do your skincare, to doing like face yoga, something else I've been trying out. Don't worry, I'm testing this. I'm going to test this for 2 months because I've been seeing these things popping up. Trust me, I'm doing a lot of testing for the community here, for the Art of Self community. I've also been using castor oil and frankincense because, you know, everybody on TikTok is swearing about this, but I don't know. Is it the miracle? I don't know. So I've been using that too. We'll see what happens. I'm going to report back. I will report my findings. But you got to figure out the things that make you feel good, and tending to yourself is one of them, because I feel like when we tend to ourselves, we can really like hit that to-do list and check those boxes off a lot better when we're making sure that we have the energy, or we're making sure we're good and we're not like running on, you know, empty cylinders. So anyway, what is my proposal here? I think we need a little structure this month. I think we maybe even need a little bit of homework. I know, maybe it's reading 10 pages a night. Sorry, my like lip. Okay. Maybe it's reading like 10 pages a night. Maybe it's doing that brain dump every night, working out a half hour every day. We need a little quote unquote homework. Okay. And when we were younger and you're in school or when you're in college, you got a syllabus. So like you had the structure. So maybe you need to structure a little bit right now and write some things out, have that to-do list for the week, but also like thinking of school. In school, we had recess, we had breaks, we had periods of rest, you had gym, you had the ability to like burn the energy, go for walks, get this out of your system, and you had some structured breaks. Also in school, we also had art, we had music, we had like those, what the hell do they call them? You know, those classes that your electives and the classes that you could take. We had home ec, we had, you know, we had graphic design. I mean, we had graphics class, but you know, this was like, and they thought it was so cool, but now I'm sure everybody just does graphics class. I'm sure it's not like a, you know, like a cool thing. We had Corel. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm like even aging myself. Corel Draw. If you know what Corel Draw is, you're definitely 40 years old. Anyway, whatever those classes were that were also inspiring. You had Italian, you had a language, you had music, you had art history, you had these like elective classes that kept you going, got you inspiration, and weren't necessarily on the like mathematics, English vibe. It was fun, but you were still learning something. So maybe like throw like something like that in this month, you know? Because the thing about school is that it lets you see that over a year you learn something. So like instead of taking a year, let's take like school's what, like 9-10 months. Like let's look at the next like 9 to 10 months as like what can we space out over the next 9 to 10 months that we can do like little incremental and kind of like acquire knowledge over time, or acquire this like takeaway that we want over time that will ultimately culminate into something. And like let's kind of start with this month. And I think we're going to do this like every month, and because I'm doing this for myself, so I might as well like share it with everybody here and like do this and kind of hold each other accountable. And I think this is going to be good, and kind of have like themes of the month, because I really like having themes of the month. I love the astrology. I love new moons. Like I love all that stuff. I really do think there's something to be said when you're kind of like, you know, you can kind of like pull in a little bit more and be a little bit focused. And I do like the astrological themes because it does give you a little bit more of a guide. So let's use this September to get back to us, especially if you let it go to the wayside all summer, like somebody who is talking right now. And maybe like embody and think about what it felt like to go back to school. For me, the first thing that I think about is I think about getting my fourth grade class assignment. I was sitting in the gym. I'll remember the gym. I remember it had this like red line all around the perimeter. I don't know. You pick the word. Around the edges of it. And I remember sitting like in the back, and I was in like the folding chairs, and I was holding onto like my glasses case like so tight, like I was gripping it. My hands were sweating. It was like it was kind of like what an eyeglass case material is. And I was just, because it was first year I had glasses. Everyone was going to see me with my glasses. Like, when was I going to put them on? Like, was I going to, like, I was like thinking that in my head. Like, I can still remember like thinking that. I was like, do I put them on now and let everybody see? I wait until I get in the class. I really don't need them right now. Like, I don't want to lose them. I don't want my mom's going to kill me if I break them. I remember sitting there, and I was so nervous, but I was so excited, and it was so unsure, but I was so optimistic. Like, finding out who my teacher was going to be, who my classmates were going to be. I don't know, that energy, it's just such innocent and pure energy. And like, sometimes it is that simple. Sometimes it's just the excitement of figuring out like what class you're going to be in. Like, it doesn't have to be so complex. And I was so wildly optimistic that year, even though I was like so nervous about the eyeglasses in fourth grade, because fourth grade was like a big deal. You didn't enter a new school, but you entered like a new part of the school. You entered like the big kids part of the school. And I had like I remember like we went school shopping, and I had like all my outfits picked out in my head. I knew what I was going to wear. I wasn't going to overlap. I knew how I like picked out pieces that, you could wear the sweater with this, and then you could wear the, just the stuff that I had time for when I was in fourth grade, that I wish I had time for now. But even the point of this is that even though I had no idea what that year was going to bring me, I was optimistic. And by the end of the year, I was crushing it. And like, I was so excited for fifth grade, and I was so ready for fifth grade. And fifth grade, I think to this day, I still think fifth grade is the year that I peaked. It might have been in fifth grade. I think I'm just like trying to get back to fifth grade. Like, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to get back to fifth grade. I was in the play that year. I made my first book that year. I made a little magazine, a little zine. That's when I started getting into zines about trolls. It was the first time I wrote like a story for the zine. I had a great teacher, shout out to her, a real feminist, like female, like she gave me so much confidence. I thought she was so badass. I thought she was so tough. She cast me in our school play. I was the lead. I played Christopher Columbus's wife. I still remember the script. You want to talk about insanity? Anyway, that energy, that innocent energy before the world like did what it did to us. Try to get back to that. And if any of this is like inspiring you or calling to you, or you think you may want to like embark on this like next school year vibe and kind of start this in the month of September, obviously minus, the first day jitters and outfits and all the terrible cafeteria food. My God, the cafeteria that school I went to was awful. Start thinking about some practical goals. Start thinking about how you want to move through this next season of your life. And it's just, remember, a season is like 3 months, right? 4 months? No, 3 months. It's 3 months. Is it? Yeah, it's 3 months. And when I say practical goals, I mean stuff that's doable. Not if like you don't set yourself up for failure. Like, we tend to do this all the time. And in the last podcast episode, I talked about the executive function of the brain. And I talked about that executive lobe of the brain and decision-making, and how sometimes when you give it this like big, giant friggin' thing, you're already overwhelming it. And it's like you're setting yourself up for failure. Don't do that with this. Like, don't go out and say, oh, I'm going to go run a marathon, when like the last time you ran was like, to catch the bus, or, for in the parking lot when it started to rain when you were coming out of Target. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the last sprint you've done, maybe the marathon on the goals for like the end of this season or the next 3 months is not it. Maybe the end of the year, but like, let's figure out some doable stuff, and let's not set ourselves up for failure. Let's think small steps, and we might not be going back to school. this semester. We might withdraw like someone, me. But this isn't just about like formal education. It's about being a lifelong learner. It's about goals. It's about constantly shifting. It's about seeing progress over an extended period of time, whether it's about getting to know a subject better, whether it's about developing like a skill set, or if it's just getting to like know yourself better. You got to kind of like have a little structure, maybe day dates, maybe meditation, maybe taking that class or workshop to learn that new skill. Maybe doing what I had to do, which is like break it down and say, this is what I really, really want to do, but why am I making this such a big deal? Why am I not thinking that I already don't have the tools for these things? Why do I think I'm, more away from it than I am actually in reality of achieving it? Why am I so afraid to do it like my way or put my touch on it or spin on it? Like go and like figure out where you're making these fear-based decisions. Like go and look at that. And it's uncomfortable. And, like, even if it's just like getting a new hobby, like maybe you deserve that. Maybe you deserve to have a hobby. And I don't know like where you came from, but like where I come from and my family kind of like mindset, it's like everything you kind of like spend your time on needs to make money. So it's like maybe it's just giving yourself a hobby this season that doesn't have to turn into a multi-million-dollar business, and it could just be something you enjoy for yourself or you don't have to see progress on. Maybe that's progress for you. Maybe that's a measurable goal of being like, yo, I am just going to go and paint pottery and take a pottery class, and maybe you get kicked out. Like me, when I get kicked out, I kind of got asked, like was told, like, you're really not good at pottery. Maybe you find that out about yourself. Or maybe you're just like making bowls and dishes, and who says you have to have an Etsy shop? You could just give them out as gifts or maybe collect them or, whatever you want to do with them. Like, I don't know, maybe that's the thing you want to give yourself this season, is give yourself the gift of just like having a hobby that you're not trying to turn into this like $1 million money-making adventure. But I want you to kind of ask yourself the following, just like take a deep breath. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to like get unstuck from the seat and then just like sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do you really want right now? I did a session with someone the other day. I did a one-on-one session with someone who had kind of been a client of mine years ago, and they reached out to me and they were like, hey, I kind of need to do like a session with you. I know you're not like really doing these things right now. I know you're kind of like doing some other stuff, but like I really could like use some help. And I had to like sit in the session with this person and I was like, what do you want? And they were like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm like, okay, so now let's do some things and set some goals and set some intentions to help figure out what you want to do. But you can't say, oh, the next thing I do is gonna be the thing, when like you don't even know where you want to start. So start thinking about, what do you want to do right now? What do you want to do for yourself? When was the last time you were excited about something? When was the last time you were even optimistic about something? When did you have that nervous excitement, like that back to school excitement, to kind of like bring this all back together? And like, what can you stand to try to move the needle on a little further this quote unquote school year for yourself? Maybe it's even making like your own little syllabus or outline, or your own kind of way of like measuring your goals. Like, I don't know. You're going to have to sit with yourself and figure that out, because you do know, and it is in there. And again, if you want to take this a step further and you want to do like a session with us, and we're going to be doing, a community session, we're going to be doing like an Art of Self session around the September themes. And for the paid Substack subscribers, you're going to be in on that. Otherwise, you can just like sign up for the session and like pay what you want. The recording will be in case you can't join us, or you want to do this on your own. If like, you're a little bit more introverted and you don't like being in groups, like whatever you got. But this month, like really ask yourself what you want, how you can use this as a fresh start, how you can give yourself a reprieve, what you loved about the summer, what your takeaways are, what even maybe your regrets are, what you wish you would have done. And like, let's start moving forward with those things. And like, let's stop setting ourselves up for disappointment. And let's really start setting ourselves up for success. Let's tap into that executive functioning center of the brain. Let's not overwhelm it. Let's like build on what we talked about, like the last podcast episode. And let's just like build with like small steps, and like, let's really start looking at the themes of this month. And I'm going to be back next month with like next month's themes, but like, let's just start somewhere, like, I know a lot of times, especially for me, I don't know where to start. And sometimes the start is so simple and so small, but we've just been taught to make it so extremely overwhelming. And just like school, you go into school not knowing a damn thing, or maybe you do know arithmetic, and now this year we're going to do like, advanced multiplication. But think about how you learned multiplication. Think about like how you learned the language that you speak. Think about how you learned whatever you're good at, even at your job. There was a little bit of structure to teach you, and then there was learning over longevity where like as you did it more and more, you got better at it. But you weren't like great at it. I mean, I'm going to say like you probably weren't great at it. There's been something you haven't been great at the first time around. And if that's the case, maybe let's use this season to go back to something. I know that's what I'm doing, and pick up a project that you left off on because it became overwhelming, because it became hard, or because in my case, I made it overwhelming and I made it hard and I just like got too far out with it, and like pull it back in and let's start small. Okay. That's what I got. I hope you like this session. Thank you so much for being a subscriber to the podcast. Thank you so much for subscribing to The Art of Self. I appreciate you so much. theartofself.substack.com. You can check out my website, donnaguerreros.com. You can find me on Instagram. And the Donnas is going to be celebrating 5 years in October. I have some things planned. I got to get on this back to school vibe so I can pull it all off. But the month of October is hopefully going to be a very celebratory month. And I am going to be, like kind of like talking about and like finally like revealing like where I'm going with a lot of this stuff. And it's all coming together. And I promise it will all come together for you too. We just got to start small. We got to take baby steps. Okay. Stay safe, stay healthy, and most importantly, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. Bye.